I know I'm sometimes a bit political, so you might think I might go on the Black Lives Matter stuff, but I don't think I'm going to go into it too much, because one, I don't really do too much research on it. Two, it's not really like, I don't really have any personal like connections to like the African American culture in America, and I don't live there, so I don't really know what it's like for them in America in itself at all. And yeah, so all I gotta say is that not all police are bad, and it's unfortunately that many people, well, not many people, but like some people have often get consumed by their authority and think they can just do whatever they like and take advantage of what they have, what authority they have, what power they have, and take in the ethics of their own personal beliefs and stuff. That often, if you've seen this, or obviously you have, that there are police people who beat and hurt people based on race because they're like, well, their personal beliefs or their personality, basically, they just feel like some people might deserve it better based on stereotypes and the colour of their skin and all that sort of stuff, which is very unfortunate, because it shouldn't matter what the fuck you look like. You don't deserve to get beaten down and hurt, or even to the point of death. And obviously that. And I know these protests are good, but unfortunately there are people who basically see the protest as an advantage to do whatever the fuck they like and loot businesses and stuff and all that, which is a very horrible thing to do, because they're basically saying, oh sweet, free stuff, but what the business is getting is like, they're losing a lot of their stuff, they're not making much money off it, and they might go out of business because they might just be like a small singular store, they're not like a franchise or anything like that. So you're basically stealing money from people who might need it to keep their business going. So it's really not that nice to do that, because they work hard. This person might have worked their whole life and forked out all their money and loans and stuff to get the store up and running, and now you're basically stealing their money away from them, and now they're probably going to have to shut down and close down because you've decided, oh sweet, free stuff, free expensive stuff, and there's no one to stop me, so I'll just go and steal it, which is a horrific thing to do. Obviously there's a lot of good stuff, and a lot of the news sometimes focuses on the negative stuff, but they should definitely be focusing more on the positive stuff of how this is basically raising the question of the treatment of how police are very negligent on how they might be hiring people that have biases to certain people of certain races, and they might be people that are quite selfish and might like enjoy having this authority and this power over others that they can take advantage of and hurt people because they believe themselves that people of these skin colours deserve it more than others do, which is very unpleasant and not nice. But obviously I'm not going to go into this too much because I haven't done enough research, and I can actually see the positive out of it, but I can also see the obvious of that during big protests like this, there are those nasty people who aren't really protesting, they're just doing stuff where people can't stop them, so they go around looting and burning cars and all that stuff because they think it's fun to do whatever the fuck they like without any laws stopping them or any policemen going to stop them and arrest them. So they just do all this stuff that's costing like thousands or probably like millions of dollars, which isn't nice, and you're probably closing down businesses because you're taking all this stuff that costs a lot of money, and there might be one single store, and this person is just going to lose everything because they can't afford So yeah, to those people out there who are doing that, it's not cool. It's not really nice. You actually haven't thought it through. You just thought how it benefits you, and not how you're actually hurting the business owners of those stores who are trying to just run a business, and you're just there going, fuck it, I'm gonna steal your shit because no one's here to stop me. So let's just basically ruin your life because we don't have anyone to stop us from doing it. So those people out there, you need to stop, because that is not nice, and those people don't deserve that from you. Just because you're so selfish, you think, oh look, it's lots of money and I don't have to pay anything, so I get it for free, and probably like sell it and make more money off it themselves. So the store loses money and you actually gain money. So that's great. You're just ruining people's businesses while benefiting yourself, because you only think of yourself and not how it affects other people, which is horrible. Obviously most people aren't doing this, but as the news shows, there's definitely people who are like, yippee, let's do where the fuck we like and rob and steal from places, which is really not that nice at all. So yeah, and well, obviously you can't just focus and hate on all police and just single them out as one entire group that's just bad. Just, if you want to protest something, maybe point out to the people that are abusing this power, and maybe the system itself and not the people in it. So yeah, like I would probably question the system of how they run things, and like how they don't stop these people who've had previous past and like hurting and beating people because of their race. And if they've had previous time of doing it, maybe they shouldn't be in the field at all. Maybe they shouldn't be there, and maybe they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, because they've already abused their power. So maybe a good system would be to stop someone who's already abused their power and probably just fire them, because the chances are if you just let them go, they're probably just going to do it all over again and just abuse their power, and then maybe many more people based on their race have been killed or seriously injured and seriously damaged that person's families and left a scar on that family forever. So a better system would be to see if these people have a past of hurting and beating people clearly by race, maybe you should stop them before they go any further and they just continue being in the field and just hurt and beat. I know there's probably like a high demand for policemen, but that doesn't mean just because you have a high demand means that you should keep bad people who have abused their power on the field, hurting and beating people because of their race. So yeah, stop that. Anyway, I think I've gone enough on this. What else? I got my driving thing on Wednesday restricted, and I just had my lesson today, and I did like a practice test of what the restricted test is like, and I passed that. So hopefully, if I do everything that I did in that practice test of what the restricted test is actually like, then I will pass again, and then hopefully I can drive to school on rainy days and whatever. So that'll be cool. And on Fridays and Mondays, I can go out and drive myself to Tauranga Crossing. So yeah, hopefully I get it, which I think I will, because I've worked really hard on it, and I don't want to have all this effort that I put in and just fail and wait till, like, the next one is like September, so hopefully I don't have to wait that long. Anyway, I've also figured out my audio. It's the thing, the camera footage also has audio in it, and that's like all the background audio and stuff. So if I just mute that audio which is the camera that receives audio as well, which is all the background audio, and then there's also a mic audio. So I just keep the mic audio, and I just take out the background noise, and then you can hear my videos much better and it'll be nice and crisp and not too bad, and I won't be interfered and not do videos solely because there's a lot of wind. So yeah, I figured out my audio problem. Hopefully it will sound a lot better and you can enjoy my video and you can hear what I'm saying a lot better, and hopefully, yeah. Anyway, I know I should have probably got to like episode 10 by now of my walking podcast, but I don't know, I got busy a lot recently, and it's been raining a lot, so I've had trouble with like having time to be able to actually go outside and do a walking podcast. But anyway, it seems like it's going to be sunny for a while now, so I'll do more of these and they'll be more consistent, like at least like once a week, not once every month, which is way too long a time between episodes. So hopefully I'll do it more often now that the weather's getting better and it's not so stormy. So yeah, anyway, it's been fun. Storms have gone for a while and we only get a little bit of rain, but not too much. Anyway, yeah, out on the good old farm track again. This is actually near a highway, believe it or not. It looks like the countryside, but see over there, yeah, it's not exactly just countryside, so yeah. I'm not out in the country, it's just like this one bit that's just a bunch of farms, so yeah. You're thinking, hey, I might live in the country. Well, I don't. It's actually the city. This bit very much does look like the countryside, and it can get confusing, but that's just how like New Zealand cities are like sometimes. They just have bits where they haven't built anything on it because it's too wet and swampy, so they just keep it as farms and all that. So it's cool. Yeah. Anyway, what else? Well, I'm definitely going to do more of that Need for Speed game because I definitely enjoy it, and obviously I'll play it longer than the 8 minutes I did in my last video, and you'll get to see my awesome skills. Nah, not that great, but I do actually crash quite a lot. Not the greatest driver, but I get first, so it's alright. I can manage not to crash sometimes, but then I sometimes crash, which sucks. And yeah. Oh look, this cow's following me. See? It's following me. Hey buddy. Wait, that's not a cow, that's a bull. Hey bull, what's up? Just follow me along. Probably not gonna come close to me. No, he's just curious. Hello. Just follow me along my walk. It's cool. Now I have a bull walking buddy, which is pretty cool. So just have a bull following me. That's pretty awesome. At least I got someone to keep me company. Oh, it's a car. So cute. That's a very cute car. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Very cute car. Glad it came out today. I was a bit worried it would be stormy because of these big clouds, but I don't think they're big enough to start any storms or anything, so it should be okay. And they're pretty high up, so they're not low enough to start anything major, so that's good. Yeah, just enjoying the outdoors, man. Anyway, I've just recently found this thing where like people put their personality beliefs and stuff on animals. Like this vegan basically made their dog vegan because they were vegan, so they thought that their dog should be cruelty friendly or something, which is the stupidest thing ever, because a dog is basically evolved enough that it basically naturally just eats meat. So you're basically feeding it poison because it probably can't even digest it that well because they don't really eat plants at all, and they're carnivores, which means meat eaters, and they only eat meat. So basically you're just feeding it stuff that's probably going to give them a whole lot of health issues, and it's just going to bring up a whole lot more issues with the health and you might actually end up killing the animal if you just keep feeding fucking vegetables. And if you see a video of it, like, there's basically they on like a news channel, they test if the dog would go for the meat or the vegetables. Obviously it just goes straight for the meat. So basically what they're doing is forcing this natural meat eater to eat vegetables because it has no fucking other choice. So that's lovely. You're just basically forcing it to eat stuff because of your human ethics of what you believe is right or wrong. Yet this fucking animal has, from generations and generations and of their ancestors, has evolved just to eat meat, and now you're just forcing it to eat vegetables that his body probably can't digest right. So that's really nice of you, just forcing your horrible policies on this dog that is obviously just wants to eat meat because they're adapted to just naturally want meat, and they need the iron and the protein and stuff, and that's how they get the build. You're probably going to make them weaker and ill and really, really unhealthy. You're probably like, they might even lose a bunch of weight because they're losing muscle and stuff because they need protein for all that. So, and also their bones will be weaker, so if they injure themselves, they might break something that they normally wouldn't without it. So if they just ate meat, they probably wouldn't break their bones. So you're basically like destroying your dog because you think your policies are worth it just to put on, not just you, but other things. Obviously, as a human, it's probably okay because we're omnivores, which means we can eat both meat and plants, which is okay. So our bodily organs have basically adapted to eat basically anything that's eatable to us. But if you put that same things on an animal that's naturally only eats meat, you're basically gonna kill it because its body can't digest it right. It's probably gonna have like diarrhea, and it's probably gonna fucking have, I don't know, it's probably just gonna die because its body just, all the food just gets stuck there because the body can't digest it right, and then it causes a whole lot of health issues, and then it can't breathe properly because it's trying to digest all this stuff that it just can't because it hasn't adapted to it. So yeah, you're basically poisoning your dog to death. So jeez, you might as well like feed it chocolate if you're gonna fucking feed it vegetables. It's really nice of you just to do that to something. Look, it's good that you have human values and you're basically like, yeah, I don't want, if I'm not going to be cruel to animals, neither is my dog. But you see, a dog is nothing like a human. It doesn't think like that. It just thinks, I need meat for protein and all sources like that. Because before humans ever trained them or domesticated them, they were hunters. So you're basically trying to change something that's genetically coded in them to eat meat. So yeah, you can't do that. They have not been around long enough around humans to adapt to, well, they haven't adapted at all to eating plants. They might not be as good as hunting, but that hunting is more like a thing that they train from father to son or father to daughter or whatever of their cubs in their group. So yeah, back when they were wild, they probably teach each other how to do that. And back when humans used to hunt for their food as well, they would do the same thing. So yeah. Anyway, dogs are definitely they just aren't evolved enough to be able to have that kind of diet. So yeah, don't do that. It's just horrific. It's just really, really unpleasant. anyway, I got another one. Like, I know obviously staying healthy is good, right? And you must keep regular exercise to keep healthy and all that stuff. But the problem is that I think media also causes those problems of where you see other people and they look thinner, skinnier, fitter, more muscular and stuff, and that makes you feel more conscious and bad about yourself. So basically what media is doing to you is basically like, you've now got it implanted in your head that there's always going to be that person that's got this different body shape that you don't have, and you actually might want to have that, but just don't have, like, I guess probably like the willpower or the hard spending hours or like enough time or free time in your life to actually get in that kind of shape. And I've got to say, you don't have to. No, you don't. You don't have to get as fit as some actor, because an actor is doing it for a role and you aren't. Sorry, I get anxious around people. Anyway, yeah. Basically, actors are doing it for a part. Like, they might a guy might get muscular because they might be an action movie star, or maybe they're doing a movie where like they're a boxer or a wrestler or some kind of athlete, something like that. So they're gonna have to look like an athlete. But you don't have to look like that, because there's no reason to. Sure, you're gonna look kind of good, but what the fuck are you gonna use that muscle for? Like, seriously, it's not useful. If you're like an athlete that does sports and stuff, yeah, I get it, you need that build. But if you're just a regular, normal person living their life, you don't need to be this muscular person. You don't need to be super skinny either. Like, you can just be nice and flat, but you don't have to be this gigantic muscular person or skinny person. You just have to be healthy enough that you can, that you look healthy. And I know it's hard, and I know like you're always going to compare yourself to other people, which I do as well. But the point is, you basically, what I would say is that the best thing to do around this is that you can support your friends who are maybe they're trying to stay healthy, and you basically give them a compliment about something, about like how they're looking better, how their skin is looking better, how they're looking healthier, how they might be looking slimmer, how they just look better because they're doing all these things that are good for them. So they're getting like more vitamin D, and yeah. Obviously you don't have to be these slim model bodily types or whatever. You don't have to be any of that. You just have to be in a shape that keeps you healthy, and you don't have any you don't have actually like health concerns that could be raised, because like if you're like if you get to a certain size, like weight wise, you're gonna have problems with diabetes and heart attacks and strokes and stuff. But as long as you're outgoing and you actually get outside, like you don't have to get outside every day, like you don't even have to do that. Even I don't do that. Sometimes I just have days where I just can't do that because I'm out all day doing something else. I'm in town, I'm with my friends, or I'm doing a driving instructor thing, and that takes all day, or I go out to see my sister or my nana and granddad, whatever. Those days, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do it every day, as long as you know when you have free time. And when you're in that free time, if you have a lot of free time, then spend that time doing things besides being in your room locked up in a very clogged up air, because you need that vitamin D. Sure, like even if you stay inside, some people can be skinny even if they stay inside all day, every day. But that doesn't mean you're actually healthy. Like, if you do that, your actual cholesterol will go up. You may look skinny, healthy, fine, but your cholesterol will be way up, which will cause blood pressure issues and all that sort of stuff. So just because you look healthy enough doesn't mean you necessarily are. But obviously there's no pressure for you to go every day for a constant 3-hour, 4-hour walk or run or 1 or 2 hour run. You just have to do something during the week that it actually is healthy, like go around the mountain or whatever. Just anything that's like a decent, like something that's like that is good for your body. You don't have to look like some model or whatever like that. You just have to find that time that you can actually do something that is beneficial to you. And when you have that time, spend it well. You don't have to just not listen to anything. Like, you can just listen to music, podcasts, whatever. That's what I do as well, because it can get just boring just looking around at the same stuff that you've seen many times before. So yeah, just listen to something on your way. You might even I don't know, like walk and watch a downloaded Netflix show. You can even do that, so you can basically watch TV while you're walking, so you can get healthier while basically doing the same thing that you could do at home. So it's not really the worst when you have free time and you can do all that thing. You're in the 21st century now, so you've got good technology that can do basically a lot of the things that you could do at home anyway, as long as you download it beforehand and then just binge watch some shows while walking. Obviously don't just do it the whole time, because watching a show while walking will definitely slow down your walking, which would mean it'll take longer and it might suddenly get dark. So be careful when you're doing that. Maybe watch, if you're doing a 3-hour walk, maybe watch 1 or 2 episodes and you might be alright. But if you get to 3, 4, 5, 6, you're probably going a bit too far, and you're gonna take twice as long to do a walk, and it's gonna be pitch black and dark and cold. So yeah, just be careful around that. Just be careful. Anyway, I'm so glad I'm doing this. It's a lot of fun. What else? It's a good show. Avatar last animated, not the movie, the show. I know you probably think, oh well, it's a cartoon, so I'm not gonna watch that. That's for kids. But this show is actually really good. It's funny, it's smart, and it's good. Obviously, there's some kid jokes still in there, but there are definitely jokes that are to humor everyone, that actually helps them, that makes us all laugh and smile and stuff. And it's actually a good story, and you actually get developing characters, and you get a story that you feel really attached to. And throughout the show, there's this new character named Tough, and unlike other shows, there's many shows where they just add this new character so they can just make their show run for longer, have more seasons or more episodes or longer episodes, or that they feel maybe they're not diverse enough in their show, so they just add this character for that sole reason, and not because the character is special or unique or helps the story. They're just there to show, hey look, we did something that you want us to do, so there you go. But it probably would actually make the show worse, because that character doesn't actually add anything to the show. It doesn't make you feel oh well, I don't know, it doesn't make you feel that if this person wasn't there, that it would actually make a difference to the show. If this character wasn't there, the show would be completely different. And that's what Tough is. She's good and she's great, and you'll just have to watch this show to know what the kind of character she is, because I don't want to spoil anything or go too far. But if you want to see a good character, you definitely have to wait. She's in season 2 of Avatar: The Last Bendis. She's not in the first season, but she is in the second season, and she basically becomes a really great friend to the rest of them. So yeah, definitely watch that. It's just a really enjoyable film. So not film, show. So it's actually on Netflix now, and you should get excited as well because they're actually going to do a live action show of the Avatar. So yeah, watch something that live action show is based on, and you'll probably feel like you want that show even more. And I definitely want to see it because I know I just want to see more of the show and see where these characters, like, what they might change, what they might keep the same, like, obviously, like, when I see the live action version, I don't want to see exactly what it's like from the show. Obviously, it can be allowed to be more centered to not a general audience, but maybe more towards, like, adults, because if you take what Avatar is to reality, it's actually probably like a lot more, it's probably a lot darker and a lot more, a lot more like stakes. Feel like a lot more stakes as it is than just a cartoon. But the cartoon, it's still a good animated show, and I definitely say that you shouldn't not watch a show solely because it's animated, because a lot of people say animated shows instantly means it's just for kids, and it's not really true, and I know it isn't, because lots of new animated shows are now for adults as well, because they know that it's not just kids who like these kind of shows, it's adults as well. So yeah, definitely watch that show. And it has a couple of things, but it has very many elements towards teens and young adults and all that stuff. So it's not really a show that's just for one group of people that you might think it is. It's for a lot of people. So check it out. If you don't like it, that's okay. I'm just saying that I like the show, and if I like the show, then you might like it as well. So that's the reason I'm doing this. You might not like that sort of magic, or I don't know, the culture that might be coming from the show that you see. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying what I like, so, so I keep pausing. I get, like, anxiety and stuff around other people. So, sorry about the suddenly going quiet, even though I'm, like, midway through a conversation. Yeah, so, yeah. Sorry, I'm not going to go into Black Lives Matter because I've already said a bit about it, and I know that, but I'm not going to go into it too much because I feel like I don't have enough, like, connection to why this is happening and all that stuff to actually have, like, a statement or idea of my own that should be heard, because I don't really have one. I just like agree that there are problems, and that there are obviously people who are taking advantage of the protests and all that sort of stuff, and yeah, and obviously it's not really the police in general's fault, so as soon as need is for speakers to stay, I'll definitely get it, because it's a great game, it's fun, it's like GTA, and then you put, like, street racing and stuff like that. Like, there's obviously racing and stuff in GTA, but this game is basically, like, just that. It's not like anything else. It's not like it actually focuses on people who are street racers and all that stuff. You get a story. The story's okay. It obviously doesn't focus on that a lot, because they know that the game actually wants just to race and stuff. So the story's okay, and it's good enough for a game. It's probably not good enough for a movie, but it's good enough for a game, because all the game wants to do is just race around the track and upgrade and get faster and faster and make more money and upgrade more, That's kind of like the sole purpose of the game. You basically, like, grind and get better and better, and probably, I think the idea is that eventually you become, like, the best. You eventually become the best, like, street racer in the city that it is in. I can't remember what city it is. Some sort of like beach city. Ah man. Yeah, I'll probably find that out for you and tell you. It might be Miami Beach, but I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Well, it's half an hour. It's going on for a while. Anyway, enjoyable, and yeah, I'll continue finding stuff to talk about every week. And I'll try and make a walking podcast episode every week, because I definitely should be up to episode 10 by now. I don't know, just keep getting nervous and not being like, I don't know what to say, and then I keep making excuses about, oh, the wind's too strong, stuff like that. Which actually usually isn't, is usually fine, even if you don't know how to edit it out. But I do know how to edit it out now, and I can now be more confident in making new videos, because I don't have that stupid excuse about this and blah blah blah. Anyway, yeah, as I said before, if people are very self-conscious about their body, right? So if you know a friend who's maybe, I don't know, you don't have to be offensive to them, obviously. Like, you can't be mean to someone because they might be a bigger person. Obviously, you don't want to hate on them. And they probably don't have any health issues. And you probably shouldn't hate on them for that or make fun of them. Like, that one is a tough situation. If the person is clearly unhealthy, bigger, might have all these health issues when they're older, that one is a really, really tough one, because you do not want to insult or hurt someone's feeling because of the image that they look like. Obviously, I don't agree with that shit that goes around the media these days about basically saying that it's okay to be fat, because that's not really teaching someone anything. They're basically saying, oh, it's okay to have all these, to be this big and have all these health issues and stuff like that, which it isn't. You can get diabetes, stroke, and you can have a heart attack, so obviously it's not really that good to be that big. But some reason the media basically just wants to keep positive and not basically like say that, oh well, you don't have to be harsh about it either. Obviously you should say that maybe you just say you're concerned about it. That's all you say. Like, you don't have to be hurtful or mean or insulting. You just say you might be concerned for their health, because like say your friend might have been normally skinny or just maybe a little bit chubby, but suddenly in like 6 months or so they suddenly gained like 40 kilos. You'd basically probably question that. You go, oh, I'm like concerned about your health. Is like, have you been struggling? Like, you don't know what's going through their head. It might not be an exercise problem, it might be an eating disorder, it might be that they're having mental issues. You just don't know. So you gotta ask, and you gotta say you're a bit concerned. You can't be mean about it. You can't just go, oh, you fat fuck, lose weight. Obviously you can't say that. That's just horrible and mean, and it's definitely insulting. And yeah, so you just gotta say you're concerned about them, and maybe that, like, is there anything you can do to help them, like, get better? Like, maybe that you could go on walks with them, stuff like that. Stuff that, like, basically gives them reinforcement that they can get back on track and they can stay healthy and, you know, look better for it. Like, you don't want to hate on them or hurt their feelings. Like, you don't want to jeopardize your friendship, or maybe it's a family member, because they suddenly they gained weight in like a couple of months or so. And yes, it can be concerning, and they can look different, and that might, I don't know, it might freak you out, so you basically be really hurtful for them. But you can't do that, because you basically are going to make that person think worse of themselves, because not only that they notice that they've got weight issues, their best friend or friend knows they've gained weight, and they're basically hating on them because they've gained weight. Like, you can't do that. You gotta talk to them nicely and calmly, and just, discuss it with them. Discuss how you could help them get better. Go to the gym, whatever. All this stuff that you can basically get fitter with them as well. Like, they may be getting fitter, but because you've helped them out, you're basically you might not realize either, but you're actually getting healthy yourself. So you're basically benefiting yourself as well. If you help them out and say you're concerned and that you would help them out by working out with them, or maybe you could sort them out with joining a group that basically focuses on people who have had mental or just eating disorders that have affected their health, and they've come together and they've started a group that might, go out 3 or 4 times a week and do some walks or running or jogging, whatever. Just find something to help them. I think the best one is probably positive reinforcement. At first you can be concerned, and you can basically say you'll raise awareness because you'll notice that suddenly gain a lot of weight in a couple of months. But throughout the time, maybe in the first month, you can basically compliment that while they may not be as slim as they used to be, they're starting to look better, they're starting to look slimmer, they're starting to look really good and healthy. They definitely don't look as pale or whatever. They look like they have much more energy. Compliment them on stuff like that. They seem to be more positive and happy because now they have more energy that they didn't used to have before because of their problems. So, I don't agree with the media thing of basically supporting people that it's okay to have these problems and not do anything about it, which will, the longer you are that big, the worse and higher your chances of having more health concerns. You can't, obviously, not everyone will gain weight, even if they eat a crap load. There's plenty of people who just have it all in the inside, and I guess the way to tell with them is probably they might look paler or whatever. Well, they just don't seem like they have that much energy either. They may look skinny, but they don't seem like they have a lot of energy. They just look tired and wrecked all the time. If a person looks like that, they probably aren't actually that healthy despite what they look like. So, yeah. I know some people just know what it's like too. You see other people they don't do as much exercise as you, but they're skinnier, which makes you annoyed because you basically you've done all this work, and then you go around and see this person just casually walking around, or just not really doing much, yet they seem way, way, way more healthier than you are, even though they don't really do it. So, obviously that can make you jealous, or you can see other people on media and stuff that seem to do all these things that get them slimmer, yet it doesn't seem to work for you or whatever, or you're still working out and trying, but it doesn't seem to, your health doesn't seem, your weight doesn't go down as fast as they seem to go. See, that's the problem with comparing yourself. It's good to get exercise, but don't compare yourself to what others are doing, because your body is different to theirs. You might lose weight slower or faster than someone else. It depends on who you are, and it depends on your physical body and what it is like. Some people naturally are can just get fitter or slimmer or run faster or are taller and all that stuff. All stuff that can help them physically. If you're taller, it's probably easier to keep your weight off. It might. I don't know. I'm not really sure. It hasn't for me, so Anyway, yeah. I know that I don't have to be. I know I had problems as well, because basically I did all this exercise and I had never seen skinny enough. But it's only because my body is actually a lot harder for me than some people to lose weight. Like, it took me way longer than I think it would for, like, a lot of other people. Like, it took me over a year to lose, like, 20 kilos, so, yeah. I'm definitely a slow person to, like, burn weight off. Even though I'm young, I don't think I'd burn weight that easily. But it's still eventually paid off, so what matters is, as long as you're noticing that you've started to lose a bit of weight, that means that your system is actually working. You are actually getting better and healthier. Just because you don't look as healthy and as good as the person who's doing the same amount of exercise, or maybe a little bit more, but that wouldn't be enough to, change them as fast. But, all it depends on the person. So, basically, you just got to keep regular exercise up, and you'll notice weight. You'll notice that you lose weight. You notice that maybe your skin's starting to look healthier, maybe a bit darker because you're getting more vitamin D. So all those things are really good, and I definitely care about body image because I've had those problems as well. Like, I wasn't super bad, but I was basically like, I had like 5 months of where I just sat around doing absolutely nothing. It's not good for you mentally either. Like, I was basically sad and miserable, and basically it was just probably a bit depressed, not gonna lie. It was not that pleasant. So the good thing of getting fresh air is basically it clears up your head. It gets you away from all the screens all the time. I know I'm looking at the screen right now, the camera right now, but I know how kind of ironic that is, but I'm actually looking up most of the time, so I'm not really looking at the screen anyway, but I am glancing down. Obviously this video is going to end at some point, and I'm just going to continue. You're not going to see it, but I'm just going to continue walking on. And yeah, so basically, like, if you have weekends where you might have a full-time job and might get busy all day, but you have weekends that you can do, like go to the gym, go around the mountain, anything that can, like, anytime you have times off. Like, everyone doesn't really work in the weekends. Like, if you work in a fast food restaurant, maybe, but like, even if you work in a fast food restaurant, you probably have like days where like you have shorter shift hours or whatever. So it's like, it's just whenever you have free time, and it's a lot of time as well, like a lot of free time, not just like 8 from like when it gets dark. Like, I know like treadmill and stuff is good, but getting outside is probably definitely better because you get vitamin D as well. And I've definitely done in-store stuff, but I don't think it's too good for my skin because I definitely get a lot paler if I just do inside stuff. So I think I'm better off actually going outside doing exercise. So yeah, you should probably it's okay to do indoor stuff, but maybe like you have to do it. Maybe you should do like outdoor stuff as well. Obviously, like, you don't have to do a certain amount every week that someone else has decided the amount you should do. You should do the amount that like best suits you. Like, I probably should have done more exercise and stuff. Like, my first exercise was on like half an hour walks, which definitely wasn't long enough. And when it got to an hour, it was definitely more effective. So what I'm saying is, like, basically, like, I don't think that system worked where, like, you need to have like a reasonable, like, it doesn't have to be too long, just long enough to, like, okay, that you've got a breather and you've been outside for like an hour. An hour is good. A solid hour is actually really good for you. Even that short amount of time is just, it's gonna change your like health a lot more than you'd expect it to. So it's not like you actually have to spend a lot of your time outdoors. I don't even spend a lot of time outdoors. I do it for like 3 hours and that, and the rest of the day, of my 12 hours or 14 hours that I'm awake, I'm doing whatever else. It's just just a small part of that day where you have free time, you go and do stuff. Like, obviously you're gonna have days where you're more tired and you just can't do stuff. I've had days where I just didn't do anything because I've been exhausted. because of a party or whatever, and that's fair enough. Don't do anything if you're like completely exhausted. Also, if you're sick, don't do anything, because if you try and run on a treadmill while like having like a sore or like a stomach and you feel like you're about to vomit, you definitely don't want to do anything, because you're basically like gonna make yourself throw up all over yourself while running. Like, that would not be pleasant, would it? No, it wouldn't be nice at all. Anyway, I have been going on for like almost an hour now, and I think I'm running out of things to say. Obviously, I live in New Zealand. You can see that. For those of you who, I think I got a few UK viewers. So for you guys that are in the UK, this is New Zealand. This is what it's like. There is like paddocks and stuff in the city. It's kind of weird, but it's also kind of cool as well. So, New Zealand is a mainly dairy sort of country. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'm in New Zealand, for those of you who didn't know that. I'm sure most of you are New Zealand viewers, but just for those few people out there who, Anyway, I'd just like to say that I definitely would say that one of my biggest things that I care about is body image, because body image definitely matters, but it definitely can't be negative as well. You definitely can't basically shame someone because they have mental illness or food disorders that have basically made them look that way, and then you're hating on them because of that. That's not really fair, because you don't know what's going through that person's head. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know why this has happened to them. You don't know what's led them down this route. So you just never know, really, do you? No. Obviously, I think I had some issues with why I went down my route, but I think I've definitely moved past them and definitely got used to it and all that stuff. My issue was basically I definitely denied it a lot, that basically I had issues that my dad wasn't around as much as he used to be, and that probably made me depressed and made me feel like I shouldn't do anything because I feel so down compared to what I used to be. But yeah, I've got used to it now, and I've obviously got used to mum being with someone else now and all that stuff. It was really hard to move on and see my mum with someone else. It is kind of weird seeing someone you care about and someone you've seen them for a long time suddenly be with someone else. So if you've gone through that, you know what it's like. It's very, very, very weird. The person could be the nicest person in the world, and I think now Steve isn't actually a bad guy. He's a nice guy. It's just that basically, if you see your parent that you're used to being with that person, if you see them with someone else, it basically you instantly have a negative idea of who that person is. You basically think they're not a good person you might put some of your blame on that person for why your parents split up or whatever, or got divorced, So it is hard seeing someone you care about suddenly be with someone else. It's really weird to see your mother or your father with someone else. It can be totally weird, and you can definitely have a bias towards it. But I know it takes a while, and you might have to adjust and get used to it. But it's not so bad. It's just you gotta realize that your parents are definitely people as well, and they deserve to have the best in their lives. So if you're going through that, you gotta remember that just because you're used to them being with that person doesn't mean that they should always be with that person forever, because they might have gone through stuff that made them drive apart from each other and they had to split up. And you've got to accept that your mother or father might be with that person for a long time. They might not stay together forever. Maybe they will stay together for a long time. Maybe they will forever. Maybe they will till they die. Maybe they will get married. But you just got to get used to the fact that your parent is a person, and they deserve what they think is best for them. They don't want to be miserable and depressed because they basically had marital issues. If they have those problems, it's probably better for them to get out of it than stay in something that's just going to progressively get worse and worse and worse and worse until there's just nothing there for between them anymore. They've just lost interest in each other because they've just progressively just had a worse relationship because they've had issues. Like, it could be any kind of issue. I don't know what it could be. I'm sure there could be issues about lying and not being honest. Honesty is definitely more important than you think. All that stuff. I don't want to go into my personal stuff. I've accidentally said way too personal stuff on this podcast already that I shouldn't have. Sorry, Mum. I definitely shouldn't have said that stuff about your new partner. That was not pleasant on me. I should have been nicer. Steve is actually a nice guy. He's not horrible. It's just that I wasn't used to my mum being with someone else. It took me a long time. It took me over a year to basically get used to it because it is weird, and it's not going to just go, oh yeah, it's cool, that new person is nice. You're not going to instantly be okay with it. Like, you might pretend that you're okay with it. You might say, oh yeah, it's fine, that's okay. But you're probably in denial and pretending that everything's fine, even though it's not. So, what you got to remember is that your parent is a person, and if they're having issues with that person that is your mother or father, and they have to split up to, not drive more issues between the family. The reason they split up is because if they stay together, the relationship get worse, and it would probably harm what their relationship with their kids is. So it's probably better off that they stay apart, so they can be mutual with each other, but they're not together anymore because that actually cause problems and issues. And yeah, I haven't been in a situation where a parent is separated or divorced and then got back together many years later or so. I know that would probably be weird as well. Like, that person would be gone. Maybe your mother or father's being with someone else for a while, and then they split up with him, and then come back. That would be definitely weird. And I have not gone through that, but that's weird too. Also, I know that you probably, as soon as your parents split up, you keep thinking, when are they going to get back together? Like, when are they going to be back to being, the parents that I've always knew them as? Which, I'm sorry to tell you, but they're probably not going to get, the most likely chances, they're probably not going to get back together, because they've had so many issues and so many problems that they basically they're just better off not together. So, I'm sorry, but it's very rare that your parents would get separated or divorced and then get remarried many years later. It's I'm just saying. The point is, I haven't been through that situation where my parents have got divorced or separated and then got back together. That'd be an entirely different thing that would probably bring entirely different issues. But all I'm saying is that, you might not be comfortable that your parent is with someone else. You're just going to have to accept the fact that they are a person and they have decided to split up with your parent, and eventually, they're obviously not going to get with someone else straight away. They might have to, process the divorce or separation, and then maybe when they've moved on, or I don't know, maybe when they just felt like that I guess the marriage probably fell apart for a couple of years, but they stayed together because I don't know, they might have done it because they had kids or whatever. It could be for any reason, or maybe they just tried to fix it, but it just got worse anyway. So obviously, I definitely should have accepted it faster, because Steve is definitely not a bad person, and I'm sure that the person that your parent is with now is definitely not a bad person. It's just that you have a bias because you aren't used to being with someone else. It just seems very weird to you. So, you're just going to have to get used to it. I know it sounds harsh, I know it sounds mean, but you're just gonna have to get used to it. Anyway, this is like an hour long now, so I'm gonna see you and goodbye.